It's Saturday. Here we are again. So, with this, the principle is I wait and see what comes. If nothing comes, we delete. If something comes, we upload. So, I'm just going to take a few moments to see what happens. I've been reading for the past couple of weeks Scott Peck's book, The Road Less Travelled. I first tried to read it when I was about 20. I don't know if I finished it. I do remember reading it, but not really understanding quite a lot of things in it. I've gone back to it at least once some years ago, and I didn't finish again. So you know how it is. Often books get read at the beginning, but no further. So this one I'm reading in the library, so I pick the book up every day. Hope it's there, and I think we've got to about page 61 or something. So just in that short time of silence, came back to me a passage I was reading about, well, you can call it personal growth, you call it spiritual growth. It's kind of the same thing, I think. And he was talking about, well, actually, I might have it here. Bear with me. So at page 59 he says, as must everyone, for as we negotiate the curves and corners of our lives, we must continually give up parts of ourselves. So he's talking about bringing balance into our lives, and that in order to get that balance, there's things that we have to give up. And then he goes on to say the only alternative to this giving up is not to travel at all on the journey of life. I particularly like that phrase, because what that's doing is saying life is a journey. How far have we got? And of course life wants to take us as far as it has for us. And I think Scott Peck is trying to say that we can limit ourselves, that we can become stuck, and that we don't achieve the fullness of life. He then goes on to say, it may seem strange, but most people choose this alternative and elect not to continue with their life journey, to stop short by some distance in order to avoid the pain of giving up parts of themselves. And so he introduces that word pain, which is what stops us from wanting to move on, because we're afraid of the pain that we will experience of whatever. Abandonment, not knowing who we are, rejection by our community, a whole host of things. And then he goes on, if it does seem strange, it's because you don't understand the depth of pain that may be involved. what he's saying is, if the reader thinks, well, why wouldn't people just want to progress through life as fully as life has for them? I mean, why would people stop? Well, he's kind of saying, well, for someone that says that, they're not understanding the pain that's involved, or the depth of pain that's involved in giving things up. And then he goes on to say, in its major forms, giving up is the most painful of human experiences. So he's talking about not just, say, giving up sweets for Lent or something, but giving up personality traits, well-established patterns of behaviour, ideologies, lifestyles. And he goes on to say, this is because the feelings associated with giving up something loved, or at least something that is part of ourselves and familiar, can bring with it a depression. He actually goes on to talk about depression being a healthy thing, as long as it doesn't become sustained. That when we do give up things, it's likely that a depression will come because we're in the process of giving something up. So this got me thinking about, what have I given up in my life? Because that might tell me how far I've travelled with life. And of course, I'm talking to you. So I'm sharing this because you may wish to consider it as well. What have you had to give up in order to maximise life? If you've been listening to these and if you've been reading me, you'll know that one of the things I had to give up was political beliefs, religious beliefs, and there's a story behind all of those, and there's pain behind all of those. But the strange thing is, looking back from this position, maybe a bit like a woman giving birth and the pregnancy, the joy of the child, maybe not in all situations, but the joy of the child seems to make you forget about the pains of pregnancy. So knowing from this end what's been gained as a result of giving things up, sometimes I can forget the pain, but it was painful. And often it's the thought of the pain, and it's not until maybe a time after that we realise the pain was a psychological pain and it wasn't maybe as drastic as we thought. I mean, what also comes to mind is 4.5 years ago, I separated, and then about 2.5, nearly 3 years ago, divorced. And yeah, that was quite some experience, because of course that's like right personal, isn't it? Political beliefs, religious beliefs, well, it's personal, but there's nothing like a divorce, like a marriage, to bring things home. And yet, on the other side of it now, I have learned a lot through it. And actually, I have spoken to people a few times and said, you might want to read my former wife's divorce petition, which will tell you about me. That I ruminate on things, that I can be a bit punitive, that I can withdraw if I'm not happy with you. So I kind of know these things, and actually since then, those are things that I've actually worked on as a single person now. So giving up is difficult. But I think when we've experienced it and see the results, which is growth, hopefully, usually, then perhaps retrospectively it doesn't seem like we gave up. Indeed, it seems like in order to have the life we have now, it was essential. So that's kind of run longer than I thought. We're nearly at 10 minutes. So yeah, so let's consider what we've had to give up in life, and where has it brought us to, and what might still have to go. Is there a quick one that comes to my mind that I still have to work on? Like as I said, it comes to mind before we get to the 10 minutes mark. think give up the notion of material security. Well, at least give up the idea. I mean, I'm not going to become a monk as such, but not kind of be held by things, if that makes sense. Anyway, I've got over the 10 minutes now, so have a good day.